Hello chess family, it's me National Master Jesse James, and today we're going over a very fun and brilliant game that was played by nonetheless Caruana, one of America's strongest chess players in history, and here he's taking out Nepo over here in a beautiful accelerated dragon. Dare I say, this is probably one of the most beautiful accelerated dragons I've seen with black attacking, and well, we're going to be going over this game and learn how it's done. So let's go and get to it. We'll start off with move 1 over here with e4 for Nepo, c5 Sicilian. Here we go, Caruana. Knight f3, g6. We got the accelerated dragon right here. Pawn to d4, c takes, knight takes, bishop g7. The bishop jumps on the long diagonal. Knight c3, knight c6, attacking the knight here on d4. Here we go, bishop e3 to maintain it. Knight f6, developing and getting ready to castle. Bishop c4, the modern variation. This is a very important move because, well, if you allow it, black will play d5 in these variations, get a good position. Bishop c4 puts the bishop on a good diagonal and stops this idea from happening. Okay, black goes ahead and castles, and here white plays the bishop back to b3. This is very important. A lot of people will make a mistake here and play, let's say, castles, and this allows the knight trick, as I like to call it. Knight takes on e4, knight takes and d5. Here, black is going to fork and get back his piece, but also he's going to be the only one left with the pawn in the center here. So black is just better in these situations. That's why the bishop goes back to b3 here. And well, let's go ahead and continue. Black plays d6, makes sense. You can't go d5, and we got to get this bishop out. Pawn over to f3. At this point, white's already saying, hey, I'm thinking about castling queenside in these games. And as I've done a video on this before, remember, castling queenside when you play against accelerated dragon is just not going to be the best. Black gets tons of counterplay, which is very funny because if you play the regular dragon, well, it's a little bit of a different story. That one is known for white to have really good positions. So why does it matter? I guess that one tempo gives black plenty of attacking chances, as we'll see in this game. Here we're still in theory, or best moves, and Caruana, it plays the top choice by the computer. Queen over to a5. And here, again, a move order, or another highly theoretical move. First move by computer, queen to d3. I definitely don't like this move, but I'm sure there's some very good reasoning behind it. And here, this is whenever Fabiano goes ahead and changes over and plays knight over to e5. And this must be part of the preparation, or maybe this was where he was not expecting the queen to go to d3. But either way, the knight going to e5 is actually very theoretical, or very, very common in these lines. The knight tries to get to c4 to put pressure on b2 over here, which is an unprotected pawn. And, well, I don't see why we shouldn't play knight e5 to attack the queen. The queen is dragged back to d2, where she normally goes. Here she's going to work with the bishop to try and trade off over here on g7, and the h-pawn comes in for those that know the thematic attack. And of course, the queen moves out the way so that you can castle queenside. Again, this is very, very close to one of the harshest lines when you play in the Sicilian dragon line, right? The Yugoslav attack, which is where you put the bishop c4, b3. Again, when you play against the accelerated dragon, it's a bit of a different story here. Black gets plenty of counterplay. Well, Caruana keeps moving forward here with bishop to d7. Castles queenside over here. And, well, rook f goes to c8. I mean, none of these moves are pretty crazy. I think they're all pretty standard here. The f rook goes over to c8. Not the a rook to c8, but f rook to c8. Black is going all in for the queenside attack. And here the knight's getting ready to go to c4, which will fork the queen, the bishop, and again, that critical square of b2. So you can see this bishop is eyeing it all the way over here on g7. Here white plays another standard move, king to b1. And, well, why not? Let's go for it, knight c4. Bishop takes, rook takes. It's so important. You can't just move your queen away here. This bishop is so important. Already black is just winning here in a good position. You could take the bishop over here on e3, or maybe if you want to, you can go for a win of a pawn here, but knight takes on b2. And of course, if king takes, queen takes c3 check, and black is just in a winning position. So that's why the bishop had to take, for those of you who are wondering. And here we go. Rook takes on c4. Pawn to g4, it is now a race. That's why this opening is so much fun. It's a race to see who's going to get to the attack first. White is pushing the pawns over here for a very good thematic pawn storm. And black, well, they could definitely try to push their pawns forward here, although typically it's too slow as white is a little bit above them in that. So here, black has to create the counterplay by using the pieces. So like rook over ac8, pawn to b5, and bishop b6 are going to be some of the main moves. In fact, that is exactly what Caruana plays here, or Fabi as we call him. Over here, bishop goes to e6, and you can see that the bishop is now aiming at this a2 square. And, well, here white went ahead and played knight to b3, a very interesting move here by Nepo. Nepo is known to play very fast here and not be as accurate, but still a very dangerous player. With that being said, somebody probably is asking, hey, why can't you just take on e6? Here, I would say, if because I do play the black side of this quite a bit, I'd be very happy if my opponent does play knight takes on e6 here. After f takes on e6, we're taking away the critical d5 square for white, and this double pawn is not bad here. We also got one of the pieces out the way, so again, the bishop's going to open up. The knight can jump to d7, and, well, doubling up the rooks here. Black is just doing a good job in this game. As, like I said, the computer gives it roughly about equal, but I definitely think black is doing very well compared to other positions that I played. But Nepo had something else on his mind because he goes ahead and plays knight b3 to attack the queen. And here, well, Fabi's going to go ahead and play another strong move here, queen to a6. Again, the top choice by the computer. What's the idea? The queen is staying on the attacking square of a2. As we'll see very soon, this is just going to win the game. And here, well, Nepo plays bishop to d4. This looks like a very good move. I mean, the bishop goes to a very good diagonal and looks to probably look and try and trade off over here. The more trades, the better this is going to be here for white. And, well, Fabi keeps getting his pieces into the game. Rook over to c8. And here, Nepo goes ahead and plays a blunderous move, a pawn to g5. It is now black to move. And, well, you're going to be seeing 4 double exclams here in this game. And, well, this is going to be the first one. I'll go ahead and challenge you to push pause and see if you can figure out the combination that Fabi does. At this point, it's just black is just winning. So go ahead and push pause if you want to. All right, if you guys haven't already, go ahead and give us that like and subscribe. Remember, liking this video is going to show this is more chess player and help grow the channel. All right, guys, did you find the move here? G5 looks like a very good move here. As it, well, you know, you're just going to have to move your knight anyways, right? You're going to move your knight, and, you know, H5, maybe D7 here, and then the bishop just trades. So what was wrong with this? Here, it's all about that A2 weakness, and you can see that this bishop is definitely eyeing it. And that's when Fabi went ahead and unleashed. Knight takes on E4, double exclam here. What a beautiful move. Now, let's go ahead and see what this does. Obviously, the knight is attacking the queen and the knight here, so it's a very strong move, and you're probably saying, well, why can't they just take? Either way that they take here, it's just going to put him into trouble. In the game, he played f takes on e4 here, which makes sense, because if you take with the knight, well, here you have 2 strong moves, which is pretty much close to the game. Rook takes on d4, and notice another double exclam gets played here. The knight does not want to take back, because they do, it's going to be a quick checkmate in 2 over here. Queen takes on a2, king c1, and queen a1 here for mate. Dear Lord. And so that's why they went ahead and played pawn takes on e4, but here we see the exact same idea. Here we're going to be looking at bishop takes on d4. Again, the knight is not wanting to take back, because if they take back, a2 will fall. Dear Lord. And, well, knight took back here on d4, and here the idea was, well, if we do take on d4, the rook, the knight is just defending here on a2. So what was Fabi's idea? Remove the defender. Here it's time for another double exclam. Feel free to push pause if you want to. If not, enjoy the show. Here you go. Rook takes on c3. Dear Lord, things have not gone well here for Nepo. And, well, Nepo goes ahead and plays pawn to a3 to cover this a2 weakness. You're probably wondering, hey, what's wrong with just knight takes on e6 here? As we've seen before, in some other games, at least with Caruana does not mind a queen versus 2 rooks. And this is definitely one of those times where you're going to have plenty of pawns, and it's just going to be a very easy game to win. Here, you would just play rook takes on c2. And here, well, queen takes is just going to be a very good game here for Caruana. Rook takes, king takes, and then let's just play, well, there's a few moves here. Well, the computer's giving queen c4 check first, king over to b1, and queen takes on e4 check, king over to a1, and then queen takes on e6 here. Even f takes. Both are relatively equal, but this is definitely pretty easy to see that with 2 passed pawns here, black is just going to be much better in this position. That's why in the game, they went ahead and played pawn to a3. And, well, although the a2 square does not look as weak, here Fabi keeps throwing on the fire, man. And here he plays another very strong move of queen to c4. Dear Lord. 4 double exclams, the strongest moves in the position. Again, he says, I do not worry about this rook. I do not worry if you take on e6. I have something planned for you. Well, let's go and take a look at the first move here. One of the first moves is, well, what happens if pawn takes? We kind of answered this earlier. You go queen a2 check, king a1, queen to a1 is going to be checkmate. Okay. What about queen takes over here on c3? Here you're not going to be getting checkmated, but you're going to be losing your queen. Queen a2 check, king c1, and rook takes c3 is going to give you a very good game. And the last variation is going to be, what happens if they just try to play knight takes on e6? Well, again, we do not take on e6 so fast, but we play rook takes on c2, and here we have plenty of firepower. And I mean, the queen can go to d5 here, and you don't have to be too crazy here. You can definitely look at rook takes b2 ideas. Unfortunately, they're not really working here. So here you can just go ahead and play either f takes on e6 or just simple chess. Queen takes here on d5 for a winning endgame. Well, Nepo did not want to go ahead and do the slow route for a loss. He goes ahead and chooses the fast route over here. He played pawn to b3, attacking the queen. The queen went over to a3 here, attacking the pawn on a3. And here, rook over to c1 got played. I mean, you might be asking, why did rook c1 get played? There's so many other moves that you can look at, but all of them are just not impressing here. If they do try to play, I don't know, let's say a4 in this situation, here there's many strong moves that you can play. But I think the one I like here the most is probably just going to be this b5 move. And here, it's easy to see that this is just making things so bad here for white. You can see that if you take with the knight, well, rook takes on c2 will again be a very strong move. If they take back with the pawn, because, well, you have to do something because pawn takes on a4 is just going to be losing. A takes on b5, you see that now we've opened up the a file over here, and bishop just comes back to d7. We will take, or maybe even play something like queen a3 in the future. Either way, black is just in control of this position. That's why rook to c1 just got played to try and defend. Queen takes on a3, and here h4. I think at this point, there might have been a little trap. He might have thought that the pawn on a3 was also defended because of knight to b5. But knight to b5 is just not going to work here. Here you simply just play queen over to b4, knight takes, rook takes, and now b3 is going to fall, and the queen is hanging here. For instance, bishop takes b3 is definitely one of the winning ideas. Rook takes b3, winning with the discovery check is just going to be winning. Here, a -5. Black is just in the driver's seat here yet again. So here, pawn h4, Nepo is trying to create some kind of counterplay over here on the king side, but it's just going to take too long here. Rook 8 to c5, a simple idea. Here the rook looks to go to a5 here to play queen over to a2 check, or queen over to a1 checkmate. I mean, both of these are just going to be some good checkmating ideas. Here, rook back over to the f file, and well, here this is the move that made Nepo resign. He went ahead and played at the fourth double exclam of this game. What do you play in this position? Hopefully you see it. Bishop takes on b3, dear lord. And any way you take back is just going to be losing. So Nepo went ahead and resigned. I'll go ahead and show you a few sample lines. This is pretty cool. Obviously, you'd be looking at either knight takes or pawn takes. We'll go ahead and just say knight takes because it really doesn't matter. You best know that we're going to be sacrificing again. And this would have been the fifth double exclam of the game. Pawn takes, queen takes on b3 check. And here you have to block with your queen. I mean, I guess you could play king over to a1 if you're a very nice person. Here it looks like the queen is guarding over here to stop the checkmate, but here you have some very nice little in-between moves. Queen a4 check. If the queen goes over to a2 to block, queen to d4 check, king over to b1, rook over to b5 check, king over to c2, queen takes on e4 check. Dear lord, these things are just going so bad in this position. Basically, what will happen is you're either going to be checkmating or winning this queen over here in many of these variations. So at this point, he just did not want to go through this, so he just goes ahead and resigns. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. This was an amazing game. Like I said, one of my favorite games I've ever seen with the Accelerated Dragon. And taking out Nepo, one of the world's strongest chess players, two-time challenger for the World Championship, was definitely something that very much impressed me. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you in the next video.